Hi everybody, happy Monday. This is Vickie, your independent Stampin' Up demonstrator from Brisbane. Let's try and find me. Got a bit of a mess going on here. Let's see if I can clean up before we start. I don't have a lot of room. Oh, how is everyone? I've got anyone. Hi Megan, hi Jean. Whoops. The iPad turned off. Now it's taking pictures of not what I want it to take pictures of. Because I have to have that bloody thing upside down. Come on. There. Alright, so tonight we are going to be making Easter baskets. Now, I'm prefacing this with I never make Easter crafts, right? I have bought a couple of Easter stamps previously, and with the bunnies and everything on them, and I've never actually made Easter crafts before. But this year, because Easter eggs are so expensive, I'm only buying a little amount of Easter eggs. So I thought we could make an Easter basket or two. So I have two different sizes because one is ginormous, and I'm like, that's the one I found on a Facebook reel that I looked at, and I'm like, I can recreate that. But because I have no visualization, no ability to visualize things, like if somebody says, think of an apple, I do not see a picture of an apple in my head. It doesn't happen. I don't know, something weird, but I saw it going, that's amazing, I'm going to do that. When I made it, it's ginormous. Hi Janice. So then I've spent this afternoon recreating that as a smaller version, because when you see the size of the ginormous one, it might be a bit too expensive to fill it with Easter eggs. Can you see this Easter egg doesn't even have any wrapping on it? Good Lord. You have to make Easter baskets. Oh, well, this is nice and easy. And I've recreated them into little ones. But I'm prefacing this right now. I am using retired punches to make my rabbit, because I'm doing a punch art rabbit. But I'm sure if any of you are like me, you probably don't get rid of any punches. So you could probably recreate this rabbit as well. And I'm pretty certain this paper has retired, but I liked the check of it, but I don't know whether I've got any 12 by 12 paper in this. This was the glorious gingham in berry burst, blueberry bushel, lemon lime twist, pecan pie, and pretty peacock. But I did find, I think, some 12 by 12 paper, because for the big box we need 12 by 12. Hi Carrie. So I'm using this. If you had 12 by 12 DSP, you could use that as well, but I'm just gonna stick two pieces together. So anyway, I have got my Easter eggs out, and then I can show you so that you can see on camera how big these boxes are, or how little my resized box is, because we all know how expensive Easter is this year, that you kind of want to know how many eggs you can fit in it, or how big to make the box, because if you make it really big and you've only bought one pack of these eggs, then it looks like you're not doing very much. Okay, we won't open these ones because they don't have any wrapping on them. But I paid for wrapping for this one, and there's no wrapping on that, so hopefully the rest are wrapped. And then I've got some hollow eggs. I actually thought I had some plain chocolate hollow eggs, but this is all that's in the fridge. So I might have to go out tomorrow and get me some, because I don't eat white chocolate. This is for Adrian and Hunter. Obviously I've not bought me any hollow eggs. Right, so, and I did search through all my stamps, and look, I have an Easter stamp. So happy Easter. Because again, I have bought so many Easter stamps previously, and I never use the bloody things. Because I have never made an Easter card, ever. I like the idea of it, it just never happens. Today, I'm making it. So, we are going to go with the 12 by 12 first. So, the big box. I'm using the Beach Time two-tone cardstock because this comes with Bubble Bath, Daffodil Delight, Petunia Pop, Pretty in Pink, Summer Splash, and White Willow. And because this is my DSP that I'm using, that's why these are all like Pretty in Pink, Petunia Pop, and Summer Splash. So let's open this pack. And unfortunately, if you make the 12 by 12, so we could make a pink box. That's Bubble Bath. That's not Petunia Pop or Pretty in Pink. This is Pretty in Pink. Hi, Marie. If you make the 12 by 12, you actually need 2 sheets, or you need a scrap. Oh, maybe I won't need a thing. I could do a scrap of one. That's what I'll do. I'll put this away because you need a bit for a handle. So the 12 by 12 is the whole base of the box, and you need another scrap for the handle. Now, the scrap I'm just going to use in my normal... Where did Hunter give me that? Because Hunter has done my punch out for my thing. Oh, the only thing with the two-tone cardstock, hi Lisa, is that you'll have a different inside-outside. Is that Pretty in Pink? That doesn't look Pretty in Pink. Maybe I will use the same piece as that, so it's the same colour. They look slightly different shades. Right, so let's do the handle first. So we need a 1-inch strip. So 1 by 12 inches. Right, then you can pop this piece away because you don't need that anymore. Pop that to the side. And then this piece, you need to score at 4 inches on every side. So you'll end up with 9 squares. Now I'm hoping this will show up on camera, and it's not too big. Let me just, oh, you're not even in the carriage properly there. You're on a bit of a lean. Does that straighten you up a bit? No, we still need this side done. Hi, Glenda. 4. Okay, that's a bit better. Right, so I think I want the dark pink on the inside. So let's get our bone folders and burnish all the score lines. Whoops. Okay, now we need to get our scissors. And it doesn't matter where we start because we're cutting these middle lines up. So you cut the middle lines up to the first score line, and then you turn it over and you do the exact same on the other side. Okay. All right, so you could cut this on your trimmer if you're a bit scared that you're not going to cut it straight. It is a little bit of a forgiving box, so it's okay. Okay. Right, so the scissors can go away. And then what we are going to do is, oh, I just need a drink, I've got something in my throat. These middle flaps, they just go in, and these two outside flaps come up and they stick down so that the points line up. Okay, so that's this side of your basket on there. So you'll need to stick tape on both sides. Now I am going to use, for my samples, I was just using seal. Let me get tear and tape and double-sided tape, just to get a better coverage and better on there. So I'm going to stick you can kind of see, because it is thinner cardstock when it's two-tone, you can kind of see that if you do it on the diagonal, from there, that should be right. And then there. I'm going to start my little pile of mess over here. So you should be able to use whatever you have got. Like, I am not using any particular dies or anything like that. This is just cut. So I'm lining those 2 points up first on here, sticking that down, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my bone folder and then adhere that box in there. Now, I don't know whether you can see this here, but I've got a bit of adhesive there. I made these baskets last year. Oh, nice. Well, these are the ones I'm making. They're nice and easy. But you cut that bit off, so don't stress that there's adhesive there, all right? So then we get adhesive on this side. I'm out of that already. And let's just stick something there as well. So take the adhesive off. And so has everyone had a good week? Looking forward to Easter. We got the doctor's results back today that Hunter doesn't have a broken wrist, so he can take his wrist guard off. We've had x-rays, we've had MRIs, we've had everything. So, all right, get the bone folder, stick that down, so that's good. And then what you want to do is you get your scissors and you just wing it, right? But you cut that off, but you've got this as a eyeball. You don't want to cut it right down because obviously that doesn't line up, but you just wing it that this becomes flat, okay? Hi, Christine. So you could then just go across Has he still been having problems with his wrist? He fell over playing dodgeball on Wednesday. So we're up at the hospital Wednesday for an x-ray, and it wasn't showing a break, but because the pain that he was in and the swelling and the bruising, they wanted to get an MRI because they were concerned about a scaphoid break in his wrist. So yeah, so try and do that as tidy as possible, because you will see this bit. So I'm just going to clean that bit up there. And that essentially is our box. It is looking a little bit wide on this side, a little bit high on this side. I'm okay with winging it. You might want to measure it and stuff so it's the same, but I'm just going to chop that so it's kind of level there. I don't want to keep hacking it. It's going to get smaller and smaller. So that's essentially our box. And then we're going to have the basket there. And how was your night Saturday night? It was lovely. So my mum's birthday. Yeah, catching up with a lot of people. So we are going to get 2 pieces of the DSP that is the same. Now, if you were using 12 by 12 DSP, you wouldn't need 2 pieces to stick together. But because I'm not, I am going to stick 2 pieces of DSP together. And I've written down the measurements. So we want this to go the same way. I think we're going to have the dots on the outside. So I'm just going to put a strip of adhesive down. Now, if you've got grid paper, you can line them up to make sure that they're even and straight. There. Now, I did write my measurements down that I was making, because the Facebook reel I saw had no measurements, so I was winging it. Okay, so we want this to be 6 inches by 9 1/4. Hi, Kerry. So that's 6 inches, so we do 9 1/4. That can pop over there. All right, so then on the long side, we are scoring at 1 inch, 4 1/8, 5 1/8. Good thing I wrote these measurements down. 5 1/8, 8 1/4. And then on this side, we are measuring, I'm only just going to do 7/8 of an inch, just to give me, no, I'm going to do 15/16 of an inch on this side and 15/16 on the other side. Just to give me a little bit extra room, because I can't make my paper any wider, because I'm using 6-inch paper. If you were using other paper, I would probably make it 6 1/8, and then you could score at 1 inch. But I'm not. Then fold and burnish all your score lines. Okay, and then you need to cut up all the side score lines. I'm I'm going to cut this side because it'll be a bit easier to see. Make sure you cut the score line and not the join line if you were doing what I did. Alright, turn it over and do the same side, the same thing on the other side. Hi Tammy, you're not too late tonight. Alright, so this is then the lid, and what we need to do is we need to put adhesive on all 4 corners to fold it in. Okay, so I'm just going to get tear and tape because I've already got adhesive all over my mat from Megan. Okay, so you don't want to stick, put tape on the middle one. You just want all 4 corners done. And then we can take the tape off. Hi Renee. And then fold the corners in. So then you've got this as your lid. We've got our box over here. And hopefully this fits on because I've done like 4 samples and readjusted my measurements every time. So this was what I agreed and settled on, but did I make a final? No. Okay, so that fits on there like that. Now what happens is that you glue these 2 bits down so that then these come up. So these fold lines, you need to fold back on themselves. And it's like a little picnic basket. So the only thing that really sticks the lid down is these 2 bits here. But then the handle will go over that and cover that. Yes, a lid as well. That's why I thought this was a bit nifty. Right, so you want to stick, now I know I don't like wet glue, but we're going to use wet glue because it gives me a bit of wiggle room time to do this rather than the tape, and the box moves a little bit. So you want the glue on the inside, obviously. Yes, I know, this is massive. So this is what I saw on the Facebook reel. And when I made it, I'm like, that's enormous. And I don't know that, so we're going to try it, but I don't think even these will fill it. And that's going to be an expensive little gift for somebody. So I thought, because I've also bought these bags, so then I'm making 2 boxes tonight. We're resizing it. Whilst I'm talking to you, I'm getting this lid back on. And you want it to sit, you obviously want it to sit on flat before you start looking at holding down the sides. So I'm just going to talk and hold that down, but we want to make sure that it doesn't stick to anything else there. And so I'm going to hold that up there, and then this side I'm going to get my finger in as well and hold that there. So you might want to get some like clips or something. You don't have any shreddy? No, I don't have any shreddy. Stampin' Up did have shreddy years ago, but you could get some from the cheap store. I don't have any, but yes, you could definitely fill it with that so that you don't put as many eggs in. But whilst that's just grabbing, I'm just holding that there because we obviously want a good grab. Yeah, with shredded paper would help. But I'm like, oh, I am really trying not to buy anything, right, that I don't already have. Which is why I'm also using retired stuff for this. Because I have never made an Easter craft the whole time I've been a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. Now, if you are pedantic, you could trim that down, because see how I did it, like this is 1 inch and that is 15/16. You can see a little bit there. You could trim that and make that right, or if you are, yes, my rings are back. Stuff a heap of fake straw in the bottom. So you could trim that so it finishes it a bit nicer, but I'm not concerned about that right now. It's more about just the measurements. So that will open up like that, and it's a snug fit. It's not a easy fit. So you may have to just manipulate that a little bit. Then we can put this over, and so that kind of covers the join. I just spotted the rings too. Yes, finally got my wedding ring back from being re-dipped and stuff. So I picked it up this afternoon actually, because I'm allergic to yellow gold, and I was getting a rash from my ring. I kept getting blisters, and my jewelry is white gold, but you're supposed to, apparently with white gold, that's the stuff from my saucepan, you're supposed to get them re-dipped every year. Well, my ring, because last week was 21 years, I hadn't re-dipped my ring at all, but every time I put it on, I kept getting an allergic reaction to it and blisters. So I've put it back on now, and I'm hoping that that won't happen anymore. So we need to stick this on. So I'm going to do one side at a time and lay it on its side. Because I'm using two-tone cardstock, you want to I want to make sure that the handle is the same color as the outside of the box. So I did the light on that side, so I'm going to stick the glue on this side, and I'm just going to do one side at a time, and I am going to do wet glue again. And so you can decide how much you want to stick. I'm just going to stick it over a little bit of that join and things so that you don't see it. Doesn't need to be a whole lot there, but I'm just going to do that. You want to make sure that it's straight. This is why I don't like wet glue sometimes, because it moves too much. But it still moved. Alright, so I'm gonna lay that box down flat, and I'm gonna hold that there until it things. I never had my white gold rings dipped. No, neither had I, but it was because I kept coming up with an allergic reaction. At first I thought it was that they changed the soap at work. But then it wasn't that, because then when I went to America, I still had the same issue. And I took all my own hand soap and stuff to America. I travel with my own soap because I have so many issues. So I knew it wasn't that. And then this one, we're going to put some glue on that as well. And then stick, was it a contact dermatitis? It was more blisters rather than eczema. So usually with white gold, that's what I come, like with yellow gold, that's what I come out with is blisters. So they think because the like the content over the 21 years could wear down and it shows more of what's in, I think, is it nickel? That could be actually what I'm allergic to rather than yellow gold. It could be the nickel content. Put a brad in the handles to hold on. Yes, you could do that, especially if you're going to put a whole lot of eggs in there. Like, that's pretty sturdy, but if you're going to put a whole lot of eggs in there, you might want to put a brad or staple it type thing and then cover that. But so that's your Easter basket. That's the ginormous size. And if I open this box up here, now you only get 10 in a box now, or 20. You don't get, you used to get 12 in a carton, but shrinkflation. Okay. That. Hi, Anita. So that all fits in here. And you could probably stick a couple more eggs in there, although that then gets very expensive. And that's holding it okay. So yes, when washing hands, the water and soap can react with the nickel and get contact dermatitis. Removing the nickel by coating the rim should help. Yes, I'm hoping. Okay, so that's the ginormous box. And then we are going to make a smaller box, but before that, we're going to make a rabbit. So I have got some punches, and a lot of punches have retired, but these are the punches that I am using. So this is the mushroom punch, or the toadstool punch. This is the double oval punch. 1 3/4 inch circle punch. I can't remember what this was called, but it's a skinny little oval punch. This one is like 100 years old. This was some label punch back in the day. And then we have a little heart and a 1/2 inch circle. Okay, so they're the punches that we've done. And some of them are retired, but I don't usually get rid of too many of my punches. Look how old that one is. That's been dropped on its side. But you know, when you used to phone Stampin' Up, sometimes when your punch got stuck, they would actually advise you to drop it on the floor. So I think that's what I did with that one. And so we've got our pieces. I don't know whether that's still their requirement or not, but that's what they used to tell you. And we are going to, so I've asked Hunter to punch me out everything for 4 rabbits, which is why I've got a few punched pieces here. But let's get all them. Okay, so this piece here then gets cut cut up this way. You could probably get 2 out of that as a carrot. And then they stuck leaves on this. So that was the leaves. So I'm just going to do a glue dot. There. And then these bits, so these half circles, these circles get cut in half. These little bits go on the ears. I think I'm just going to use a glue dot again. And then this is the big shape out of the toadstool. And this is going to be his face because it wanted another oval-y type shape. But so that's what we've got because I didn't have any other ovals. And I didn't want it to be the same, exact same size as the ears. So we're going to have it like that. And they go like that. So again, we're going to do glue dots. So you can use wet glue if you want, but it takes a little bit to dry. And I'm trying to do this quickly because I want to do the other resized box and show you, because I think the one we just made is ginormous. Okay, I think I need another glue dot underneath that bit. And probably on this side too. So that then they don't move too much. They just, so what the tutorial that I looked at is just followed the, I just drew the face on, but the pink, this was the nose. So put that on. So if you had a larger oval, which I cannot find out of all my punches, a larger oval would probably work best, but I didn't have one. So we're just gonna draw some eyes, and we're gonna forgive Vickie for not being an artist. Right, we're going to have some whiskers out there. All right, and I'm not even going to try and draw a mouth because I'm not happy with that, but anyway. And then this goes on here like that. This is why Vickie has stamps, because I know I can't draw. And then the carrot goes across there like that. Let me just round the bum of that carrot because it's looking a bit pointy. I don't know that that helped much. And then stick that on there. And then these two circles are to go over the carrot as hands. You may or may not need them. Maybe just with the one. Because otherwise, where's his actual arm for the rest of the hand? The other one's just kind of here connected at the bottom. So that's your little rabbit. Let's just do that. And then he can sit. Look, I made the rabbit.
Oh, that's cute.
All right, good night.
Love you.
Love you. And so he can sit here on the side of the box if you want. But, so we can put him there. And then I did get this stamp set that said reason to celebrate, and it says Happy Easter on it because I do not buy Easter stamps. So you could stamp a little tag, or you could make a little tag and put him on it. We might do that a bit later because I'm going to move all this stuff over here. Because now we're going to do the smaller box. Okay. Now the smaller box is much cuter, and we are going to do that in, let's do that in this colour here. The Summer Splash. And we need a piece of cardstock, A4 cardstock. Now the bonus with this one is that you only need the one piece of cardstock here, because the first cut here is what gets you your handle. So we need to be 7.5 inches by 7.5 inches. So if we go 7.5 and cut, that's our handle for this one, just because I don't want to cut another piece of cardstock. And 7.5. And so then this is scrap, so you can use that for your tag. And then you put your cutting blade away, and you need to score all 4 sides at 2.5 inches. 2.5 by 2.5 by 2.5. Now, this is pretty much the biggest box that you can make out of one piece of A4, which is what I wanted. I didn't want to use 12 by 12 because not everyone uses a 12 by 12. So this is the biggest box that you can make, because you need to, whatever size you want to make this, you need to make sure that all 9 squares are the same size. Oh, did I not? Didn't even score that side, so that's not going to fold well, is it? 2.5 inches. So you need to get 9 squares all the same on the one piece of cardstock. So, and that's how I've resized it, because that first one, everything, they're all 4-inch squares. These ones, they're all 2.5-inch squares. Okay. So then we cut up the score line to the first score line. And we turn the box 180 degrees and we do it again. All right. So then what happens is these inside flaps go in, and then you do the same concept. So you bring up the side flaps, and then you bring them to a point, and that creates your basket. All right, so you need to put adhesive down on the diagonals. So those that came a bit late, I made the other box, which is ginormous, and it was from a 12 by 12 piece. And then I've resized that to be a little bit more realistic for people's Easter budgets this year, especially mine. So, but like others have said, you could make the ginormous box if you want, and then just fill it with shredded paper so that you're not sticking as much in. But if you want to fill it with eggs, 10 hollow eggs just fits. Right, and so we've done that, and even though adhesive comes up over that, that's all right, because we're going to cut most of that off. All right, so then we just repeat the other side. So if you missed the measurements, I do move a lot of my my Facebook Lives to you. Well, I move all my Facebook Lives to YouTube. I usually only do that every couple of weeks. You've got 30 days for a Facebook Live, and then after that it disappears from Facebook. So I move them to YouTube, so then you can rewatch it on YouTube. This one will probably move over on the weekend, because I have a long weekend, obviously, to move everything and do it. But some weekends I'm a bit too busy, so I don't move them over immediately. So I'm just getting the bone folder and make sure that that's really stuck down there. And then I wing this bit. You might want to get a ruler and draw a straight line across there so that you can cut across that. This is handmade. If they don't like it, too bad. So I am cutting that off, and I'm trying to be as straight as possible in there. So then that's your box for that one. And we're going to get the Summer Splash paper, and This time we'll go with the stripes. We only need one piece this time because it's a much smaller box. So one piece, and we need to, so one piece is 5 5/8 by 3 5/8. So 5 5/8 by 3 5/8. Is that way? So then on the long side we are scoring, and this time I've only done 1/2 inch as the border over the box because 1 inch looked too big on the size of the box. So 1/2 inch, 2 5/8, 3 1/8, 5 1/4, and then turn this, and it is 1/2 inch on both sides. I didn't write that down. So 1/2 inch, and then you can turn it around the other way and do 1/2 inch because I don't know what that measurement is. And I'm getting tired and I'm not going to work it out. But that will work on there. So then fold and burnish all your score lines. Now we cut up all the side ones. This one is a little bit easier to see because you don't have the join line. But again, if you were using the 12 by 12 paper, you wouldn't have a join line in the other either. I was just using this paper. That seems a lot smaller than that. I think that will work, but that's not 1/2 inch. So I think it's actually, excuse me, or is that too much? No, that's 1/2 inch. What's this? This is only 1/4. No, this is 3/8 of an inch. So that needs to be 5 5/8. Needs another 1/4 on it. So I think it's supposed to be actually 5 3/4. So that's equal. So it'll be 5 3/4. If anyone is taking measurements down. This will work, but this and this are not even. I can see that. So then we need to put glue on our corner pieces. And only our corner pieces. I don't need that piece, do I? What is that? Take the tape off and then fold the pieces under. I will watch the replay and make them, thinking I will do a milk carton for the big bunny. Oh, that's cute. Okay, so fold that in. And again, let's just test that I've done this right. Yay, that fits much better than my thing, except that is not, I'd like that to be just a little bit longer there, so it matches everything else. But besides that, I've done well. So now we need to get some glue on that bit. This time I might leave it on. and try and just put a little bit on that way, because this box is a little bit easier to handle because it's not so ginormous. And then do this side. Oh. There's a little bit of room there, so maybe I could, maybe that's the wrong measurement then. Maybe that's what I did. Let me just measure that, people, because that's a little bit roomy on that side. 2 1/8. Is that what I did? 1.5. No, half to 2 5/8. 1/2 inch to 2 5/8 is 1 2 1/8. Right? So that's 2 1/8. That's 2 1/8. No, I've stuffed up. It's the end. That 5 5/8 should be 5 3/4, and then we would be right in there. Right. Then we've got our handle. Now, you obviously don't need this ginormous handle, but you could put the handle to the bottom on this one and that. But I'm just depends where you glue with this one, because if you're going to glue there, then this is now wider than that bit that's glued down. So I think I'm going to change this measurement. So 5 3/4 by 3 5/8. I'm going to put this lid on it, and I'm going to just trim this to 1/2 inch, which is that matte thing, that width, because it's too fat. Too fat for my liking. So you can either have it to the ground, because that and then that fits much better in there. Still gives you a nice handle, and it's to the ground, and so you'd have a lot more, like, it's a lot more secure than this one here that's only got like 1 inch glued on either side. But you can't make, well, you could make this longer if you join 2 straps together, but I think then that weakens it. So that you could have stuck right to the end, and it's then the length of the cardstock. So I think that's what we're going to do. We'll get the glue back. And when you use normal cardstock, you don't have to worry about the two-tone or not. That's not stuck on there. Why isn't that stuck yet? Because you don't have a right and a wrong side of cardstock. But you only have that with two-tone cardstock. Just really making sure that that's stuck down there. Now this side, I'll stick that to the bottom. There. Now I'm gonna turn that over. And then push down with my bone folder from the other side. And then do the same with this side. Oh. Just going to hold that for a second. Pop that down and then just get my bone folder and push that. Because the wet glue gives you time to move things, but it also takes a minute or two to stick. So then that's that basket done as well. And this bunny fits on here too. So we can make maybe a little tag. Because look, we've got 8 minutes. 8 minutes to make a tag and do some stamping. So, what have we got? And I've got 10 ton of ribbon that's retiring. So let's get the pretty and pink ribbon. Oh, I don't have any of the Summer Splash ribbon. Is that too different? It is too different. What else do I have? You can just have orange ribbon. Match the carrot. I don't have any ink that I can reach that matches any of these colours. So we will be going with Memento for our Happy Easter. And I'm looking for a tag punch. But let's go with this one. And we need some white. You can tell I'm winging this bit. I did not plan this bit at all. All right, put that there. Just add this to the punch pile over here. Might do it over there. I did clean up my desk finally last week. I think by Tuesday. Okay, so we are going to use the Easter, if I can find it, Easter. And the Happy. Oops. Happy Easter. And we're going to stamp that over to this side. Is that even going to stamp? Sometimes I have to refill my Memento. That doesn't even look like it's going to stamp. I'm waiting for the new black ink to come. I thought my order would arrive today, but it hasn't. And I store my Memento upside down, but it still doesn't seem to help that much. Okay. We need a scrap to just move that around. The back of a spoon works well. Don't use your bone folder because they're porous and they stain. Ask me how I know. Which is why I didn't grab my bone folder, because I've done that so many times. But that's better. Happy Easter. Let's stamp this one too. Oh, I've put dirty fingers all over that one. Why is that not staying on there? That did not turn out any good at all. I'm not happy. Throw them in the bin. Throw the Memento in the bin. You know what I will do? I've got this, yes. I've got this craft ink that I changed to white, changed from white to black. I think you were using a different shipping company. Mine normally comes from Australia Post, but this time the email is from someone else. Right, let's try again. That's better. You know what I think it was? Because I didn't condition the stamp either, because it's the first time I've used the Easter stamp. So it's the first time out of the packet. So it possibly still had residue and stuff on it, but I'm blaming the pad as well. Okay, so we're going to do that. Stick him on there. I think that's going to fit very nicely. On that big one. This one it might be. Oh, look, it just fits on there like that. Oh, that's cute. I'm going to stick that on there. Some dimensionals. I was going to use ribbon. I don't know that I need it. In my head, I was going to tie it around the label, around here. But I think I'll just stick it on the box. Won't even need ribbon. Oops. So, just add this to the pile of mess there. And I've stuck them on the wrong side. Oh, look, I lifted it up over that side. And I think that head one's fine. Oh, how cute is that? Right, so then this one can fit. Let's open these crunchy eggs because this is a small packet. Okay, you probably need some shreddy or something in the bottom of that too because it looks a bit empty, but that's a good idea. How cute is that? And then this one has got the pack of 10 hollow eggs. I need to stick the label on that. I need to make another thing. This one is a much better size. Yes, because this thing is bloody ginormous. But I had no sense of size or direction or anything like that. I just saw a Facebook reel going, oh, I like that. Made it, and I'm like, that is not what I was thinking. I think it's too big. So this might be good if you wanted to give them like pajamas. You could stick that in there, but you don't want to be filling this with Easter eggs because it's going to cost you a fortune. But pajamas, nice little gift. And they'd probably fit in there if small enough. But this one is so much nicer. I love it. And yes, we can stick the label on this one, but I think I'm going to recreate this one, and because this is just too big. But I hope you liked both the sizes so that you can tell the difference. If you want to give pajamas or socks or whatever, go for it. Do the big size. But let's be honest, no one wants to give that many eggs to somebody else. I need to have, these crunchy eggs are mine. These white ones are Hunter's. So I'm like, I could give that to him, but as a gift to anybody else, I don't want to be given that many eggs. So, but I think I did well for my first ever Easter project because I don't usually do Easter or anything except eggs, but I don't usually have time to craft. So, I have decided I will not be on next Monday because I will forget. I'm doing things. So I'm going to take a week off and enjoy Easter. I hope everyone has a lovely Easter break and the Easter bunny comes to everybody and you get lots and lots of chocolate and whatever else you're after. And I will see you all in the next 2 weeks. Bye.